Hey, it's Enrico Pallazzo!
Utah, give me 2.
Pallazzo!
Utah, give me 2.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to your second dose of level MVPs in the minor leagues this year. I am your guy, Big Gentle Ben, Benjamin Chase. I'm with my man, Robbie Baseball. And Robbie, how are you tonight?
I'm good, Ben. Now that I'm opening up this Busch Light, which is brewed in Canada. Okie doke.
We don't have a Busch Light. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'm sure you do, but this one just says
a drop or anything.
Yeah, I don't think we have a Busch drop.
Beer.
But yeah, I'm good. I just changed the oil on my wife's vehicle for the first time. And whoever put the filter on last time, I think, was just doing it for the life of the vehicle because it was quite difficult to get off. And they over-tightened. Yeah, they over-tightened the oil drain plug as well, which you put a crush washer on. So all you got to do is just like kink, and it's good. The washer does the work. But they decided to go dig, 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 dig. Anyway, so I got that off. We're all good. And life is grand. And fantasy baseball playoff season for those that are actually enjoying fantasy baseball, and for the rest of the Roto crew out there.
Oh.
I mean, what is it? The 7th inning for you guys?
You know, I will tell you, every single head-to-head league I'm in, I'm not in anymore. There's one league where I am shooting for the best position I can get, not in first place. So I have a chance at second. I'm currently sitting in third, and it's the league that I've been in the longest. I created that league in like the early 2000s. So it's over a 20-year-old league. And so it's a long time. I'm not the commish of it anymore. Thank goodness. I kind of am okay with that. But it's a fun league with a bunch of guys that I used to be on message boards with back when ESPN had message boards. So, we're talking like late 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
a lot of these guys I built a lot of relationships with. And so it's kind of a fun league to still be in and keep in with all these guys. But yeah, first place is kind of lapped the field at this point in that particular league. And so I don't think since I came back to the league that I have come anywhere near second place though. So that would be an okay finish. I would be really happy to. Last year, I think I was 4th or 5th. So we've been kind of slowly building up to this. It's an OBP league, and I have an offense centered around Juan Soto and Vladdy Jr. That's a pretty good start.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm only alive in my home league, which is the league for anyone who has been listening through the offseason, is the one that I accidentally went to a week early, an hour away when I showed up at the place in London, Ontario, a week early with my wife and child, who then we just hung out and played games at the arcade feature and all that for the afternoon, and then went back the next week and crushed the draft. But I didn't have any picks in that round or in last year's first 5 rounds. I just sat and watched. So hey, there we go. And that's who I'm playing this week is Ty. And he thinks that my whole family's going down. You know what, O'Doyle? I think something's going to happen to your team real soon. So yeah, I'm alive. I'm playing Ty in this one, and it is right now. He's winning 8-1, which shows just how early in the week we are. Where are we here? Oh, learn how cameras work. Boom, 8-1 on Monday night. So we'll see how this finishes. But I've had this thing in this league where I suck until Sunday. So I would like to be able to lead this one a little longer. But anyway, that's it. The other one that I could have won big money, I got knocked out by one excellent fantasy player he's won the league, I think 3 times, and then was in the playoffs last year, this being its 5th year. So he drafted well, he's traded well. And then I built my team around starting pitching, punting, relief pitching, and naturally that's what cost me on Sunday. And Danny Palencia, is that correct? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Who nearly ruined me. My God. And I'm sure ruined some other fantasy lives out there. So this is I think now former Cubs back end of the bullpen guy, because if he's not going on the IL or hasn't already, he is not going to be welcome back in September for any fantasy owners out there. He gave up 5 runs, blew the potential save situation yesterday, and ended up with the indefinite line, which, oh my God, that was horrible. But anyway, Ben, that's the good, bad, and the ugly. We've got MLB debuts, we've got promotions, and most importantly, we've got our AA and AAA MVPs to go through tonight. So without further ado, why don't we get to some MLB debuts?
And we talked a bit about this last week, since it was the first last week, and we were hearing rumors about who would be coming up with roster expansion. Really not a ton of debuts from that. I was actually kind of surprised. It's a lot of the sixth reliever or the sixth middle reliever that we've stored away in AAA all year long. We're going to bring him up for the stretch run to keep innings off of our real good relievers right now. And that's about what you're seeing with the teams that are in contention. And so not a lot of great names, but there's some interesting ones. Mitch Ferris, this is a guy that I think Robbie, if he sticks in that Angels rotation next year, is going, or even just kind of makes up and down, holds on to a spot for 3 weeks and then heads back down, that sort of thing. He is like your perfect Jesus take the wheel type of profile.
Yeah.
Like
if I was still doing it for this year.
Yes. I'm just saying, like a control-based lefty that throws the kitchen sink at you. And I think he is a former Brave. We'll get that out right here. But that's why I
don't hold that against him, everybody. Don't hold it against him.
But
and he's an Angel. Don't hold that against him either.
Now he's an Angel. Yeah. But he is a guy who I think he was like a 15th round pick for the Braves and has made it all the way to the show in like 2 years. So that's pretty darn impressive. I think he was a 22 or 23 draft pick. So pretty solid to be able to make it quick.
Yeah.
The other one, Harry Ford, this is actually his debut, but it's his 3rd time he has actually been up to the majors this year, which I think is just amazing. But he came up twice because they thought Mitch Garver or Cal Raleigh would potentially have to go on the IL due to something that happened, and neither time did they. And so he was brought up as a potential, oh my gosh, we're on a road trip, we might need a catcher. And so he ended up going back down and not playing. And now he finally got to play. Hayden Harris, if you remember from the Futures game at the All-Star game, this is a Braves reliever who left-handed and brings it upper 90s with 2 pretty good breaking balls. So this could be a fun reliever down the road. I don't think this is a closer, but it could definitely be your left-handed setup guy. Carter Jensen is going to be absolutely Robbie's favorite guy to talk about here because, of course, he is a catcher.
2 out of 4 have been catchers so far, Ben, but luckily the other 2 have been left-handed pitchers, so we're good.
Yeah, there we go. Jensen is probably, I guess, looking at this list, Jensen is probably the one I would want to roster the most for the rest of year. But just because I think Kansas City is giving him a run here at the end of the year at catcher, whereas Ford is probably not going to see a whole lot of the field. I don't know. I like Jensen. I think he's going to be a rare guy that maybe, I don't know that he's a 30 home run guy, but I think he's the type of guy that'll give you 15 to 20 home runs, and he's going to legit give you 7 to 10 steals. He's a good base runner, so he should be able to get you a few extra steals. So that's an interesting one. Roldy Munoz is a lot of velocity and has no freaking clue where it goes. He came up for the Braves, right-handed reliever. Jaden Murray made the transition to the bullpen this year. He legit has 7 pitches registered on his AAA Prospect Savant card. he's only thrown 3 in the majors so far, or four in the majors so far, and 3 of them were his 4-seamer, his 2-seamer, and his cutter, and those are all pitches that average like 94 to 97. So they're all like in the same velocity band right there. And then he also has a sweeper that he's thrown in the majors so far, but he has a whole bunch of other stuff. This is a middle relief guy, so don't think that this is who the Astros are going to lean on down the stretch in place of Josh Hader or anything like that. Christian Roa got called up for Miami. He's a long reliever. That's all you need to know. Brandon Sproat, though.
Former Red starting prospect, right? That's Roa?
Yep.
Yeah. Because now he wasn't the possible Rocky starter that was traded to the Reds, right? I feel like there's Roa.
No,
there's a different one.
Different one. Yeah. And I can't. Yeah.
It was in that same draft year, whatever. Either way, when I saw the name, I immediately thought of like, I remember Roa was supposed to have the stuff here, but like as you mentioned, extended into relief, or promoted, but as relief pitcher for them now.
Yep. Brandon Sproat got to come up, got to make a start, and the start is basically what you should expect out of Brandon Sproat. 6 innings, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts. Didn't get hit a lot, but when he got hit, it really jumped off the bat. So, there's going to be some concern about, because he provides the velocity and sometimes it straightens out pretty bad. And so when a guy gets a hold of it, the velocity is going to be there. He just turns it around and that ball is going to jump off the bat and likely for extra bases. Interesting one to watch. I've thought since Sproat pitched on the same Florida team as Hurston Waldrop, and I really thought both of them were future really, really good relievers. And here they both are starting for major league teams in the stretch run this year. So, just kind of.
But only one of those teams is competitive, Ben, right?
This is true. This is very, very true. I'm sitting here watching Bryce Elder like dominate the Cubs right now, and just wondering when the 10-run inning is coming. So this is what I've gotten used to this year. Sal Stewart is someone who is. I think extremely overhyped in fantasy circles. Sal Stewart, as far as your batting average, great guy to have. Sal Stewart, as far as anything else he does on the baseball field, I am not impressed. He's added a little bit of power this year to where I think he could maybe give you 30 doubles and 15 home runs top end. But this is a guy who, if you would have asked me last year, I would have said this is a 25 double, 7 home run, whole lot of singles type of hitter. And the defense is meh. So even at third, so they've shifted him to second where he's passable there too, but this just feels like he's going to need to find a different angle on the swing or really do some work on defense to become valuable enough in order to stick in the major league level. And right now he's on a team that has Cabrian Hayes, who wants to put a mediocre defensive third baseman there when you pretty much have that exact same profile as an elite defensive third baseman starting for your team for the Reds right now. So, we mentioned CJ Stubbs last week, but just kind of as an afterthought with Alvarez, and that's kind of what he is for the Nationals right now. He's a backup catcher. They are playing Riley Adams like it's going out of style right now.
Crazy.
For some reason. I don't
Good
know why.
for Riley Adams too. This is a guy who has been a backup in Washington 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
And like he's watched the extension be given to the anointed starter, the highly touted prospect that came up, and he's chugged along and he's getting his moment. So cool.
Yep. George Valera came up. I guess I haven't even looked to see how much playing time he's gotten. It's just one of those where, remember, kids, just because they're highly rated on a prospect list does not mean they are a future big league superstar. Valera is a great example of that because it has taken him a long time since he was an anointed prospect. I was just going to pull this up here. Where he was best was going into the 2022 season, where Baseball Prospectus had him ranked highest at number 33.
Okay.
But he was a top 50 prospect, pretty consensus that year, and hasn't been in a ranking since 2023. So he fell off real fast after that. So, but yeah, I guess he's been 3 for 10, and Chad just mentioned this 3 for 10. He's got an RBI, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts in those in 11 plate appearances. So 40% strikeout rate.
Yeah,
But,
he's playing. It's early. You never, you have
Yeah.
one good night and it can change it all. It's like watching. There's a few guys that I drafted in the one league where you got 50 minor leaguers, and I drafted 3 guys who are right away. I put on my 40-man Bulford with Colorado, Cortez with Oakland, and oh my goodness, the other one's with Miami. And 2 of the 3 are doing well. And for Bulford as the backup catcher, because I've got Romo with the Rockies. So I'm trying to corner the terrible catching team and get all the terrible catchers. But I watch it, if somebody goes 2 for 3 and they've got under 100 career bats, you see that line jump. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? Maybe they're not the worst ever. And then they go 0 for 6 and you're like, all right, never mind. So Valera's going to have to go through that, but they can't all be Jeremiah Jackson. They can't all come up.
This is true. This is
when they shouldn't be playing. Yeah, exactly. When they shouldn't be playing on a team that you're like, wait, when did they go there? And then
he kind of took just a while to come up to the majors too. Yeah. So
and Jackson's batting like 2 or 3 for the non-competitive Orioles team, but whatever. And the last guy, which he has started 3 times already, but I don't know if we actually talked about McCade Brown at all.
I think we just
skipped him
over him very quickly.
Yeah. And here's why: 9 1/3 innings pitched, a 12.54 ERA, 7 walks, 6 strikeouts. He's had 2 home starts. This is again a Rocky starter who's been thrust into the starting rotation for them. He skipped AAA, which is always a great sign. And a 3rd round pick in 21, but in AA, he had a good stat line: 11 starts, 43 innings pitched, 15 walks, and 57 strikeouts. The problem is obviously you're a 24-year-old jumping a level to go into the bigs in a tough division, NL West in a playoff hunt. And he was in San Diego for his first start. I did have that son of a bee sting. I got rid of it. And I forget who lit him up.
No, he was at Pittsburgh was his first one.
Oh, at Pittsburgh. Thank you. And then,
but then he's been home against
and then San Diego.
Cubs, and then San Diego. Yeah.
And he went 3 2/3, 4 innings and 1 2/3 innings. Like he's not
lit up.
Anybody. Yeah. He's not beating any of these hitters. And it's not, I would say it's not his fault. But this is what Colorado's put up instead of Feltner, instead of, developing any of these other guys like Dollander. They're throwing things away here. And we've talked about this before. I've talked about this personally. Why don't they try to develop knuckleballers in Colorado? They got nothing to lose. Just do
7
different
walks and 4 hit batsmen.
Oh, I saw
9 1/3 innings.
Sorry, I didn't intentionally withhold that information, Your Honor. I promise.
No. I just was pulling it up, and I'm like, whoa.
That's what I'm getting. He's lost, and he was putting together a decent season until this.
Actually, he was having a fairly good minor league year.
Yeah,
that's the unfortunate part is he actually was having a pretty good. He was going to be one of those guys that we would have to debate whether he fit on the next big 3 sort of thing, where he could possibly come up this year. That type of
the line looks good, and let's see what he can do at AAA kind of guy. And again, he would be entering his age 25 season, which is perfect for he could come up at any time. But now as a 24-year-old that's been thrust into action here, it's not looking that good for next year for him. But anyway,
I kind of wonder. I was just looking. He got drafted in 21 as a college player. I kind of wonder if he wouldn't have been a Rule 5 guy that they were going to have to make a decision on anyway. So maybe they just bumped him up and just kind of let's see what he is, and maybe they'll make a decision this offseason to get rid of him. So thanks for no thanks.
You guys want him in your bullpen? I don't think so. So we'll keep him. I mean, not fair to him, of course. But anyway, Ben, let's get into some minor league promotions that we've seen. If we have time at the end of this, Ben, yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot here. I don't think we'll be able to, but I did save all of the last week player of the weeks for minor league baseball. I was gonna ramble off but this list of promotions is so big. I think this is the more pertinent information. If we
And
have time,
I don't
to
even
this, I can pull them off.
I don't even know that we'll get into all of these guys very deep.
Yeah,
just
mention some names.
Names to know, basically. Ismael Agreda, right-handed pitcher with Texas, is up to high A. Franklin Arias, the shortstop for Boston, just 19 years old. They've promoted him up to double A. There's someone to keep an eye on. I'm guessing he's probably owned in most of your deep leagues anyway, because he's had plenty of hype coming into the year. But
I think he's
Enrique
getting into the George Valera territory as far as rankings, where he's in that not in the hype, but he's in the 50s for some of these midseason lists and things.
Yep.
Yeah, he's clearly spotted in Dynasty.
He's known. Let's just put it that way. Enrique Bradfield is up to AAA, which is an interesting thing. Who knows whether they'll bring him up by the end of the year, but at least they're getting a look at him at the top level. Uncle Ted's going to be really happy because we get to mention Lucas Braun, who is the best number 5 starter in the Braves minor league system, and he is up to AAA. There we go. Kyle Carr, left-handed pitcher with the Yankees. I think this is his 3rd level. He's up to AA. Dominant in the lower levels, but this is your Mitch Ferris profile. He needs to really, really pound the zone because he doesn't have a whole lot of junk as far as anything to make you swing and miss. So Carlos Castillo, a pop-up pitcher in Pittsburgh system, of course. Right-handed pitcher up to high A. Jose Corniel, I want to say Cuban pitcher, but he's a guy that popped up in stuff and then has just been injured a ton. Finally healthy and now up to AAA. The fun story one that I highlighted to talk, Dason Crows, infielder in the San Francisco system, 25-year-old from Aruba who was just signed this year, and he is already up to AAA. This is his 4th level this year already, and he's playing well. I think he's hitting like 280 across all 4 levels. So I don't know that this guy's a legit prospect in any ways, but it's kind of a fun story. A guy who gets signed that late out of Latin America, and he's already up to AAA in his debut season. So that was kind of fun to see. Nathan, for frick's sakes, Flewelling, nailed it. Catcher with Tampa Bay. He's a catcher. No one's going to care who he is.
I can put this guy on the list. He's a catcher, and the name's say.
and plus, he's not just is he a catcher? He's a catcher in the Rays system, which means he's going to amount to nothing. But high A, Nate Furman, who really struggled in Cleveland's system, and they ended up trading him, I believe, for cash. I want to say to the Giants, and he's been hurt. He's finally back, and now he's up to AA. Nestor Herman. Right-handed pitcher with Baltimore is up to AAA. Lucas Gordon, lefty this year, who's kind of been a pop-up guy for the White Sox. He's up to AA. Here's a guy to keep a note on. Wei N. Lin. So WEI-EN and then LIN for the last name. Left-handed pitcher with the A's. He's from Taiwan, just 19, and he's up to AA. So that's a really interesting one. And now I will say these were the ones confirmed as of about noon. Chad is mentioning in the chat here that Hope DePaula are coming up for the Dodgers. I've seen that posted at a lot of places.
No.
They're going up to AA. The last I had looked, I had not seen I have not seen that DePaula and Hope were confirmed on the MILB site. So that's the only way they get on this list. But Jesus Made was confirmed. 18-year-old Brewers prospect is going to AA. Alex McFarland, a guy who was kind of well thought of coming out as a draft pick pitcher, has taken a little time to get there, but he's in the Phillies organization, and he's now up to AA. Carson Milbrandt, guy who's I think he's 6'2", but has arms and legs like he's 6'6". Right-handed pitcher from Miami, up to AA. Shane Murphy has been a huge surprise story for the White Sox this year. Left-handed pitcher. I think he started the year either in low A or high A, but he is now in triple A. And I still think he's got a sub-2 ERA on the year. So Griff O'Farrell was a big name draft pick shortstop for the Orioles a couple of years ago. He's up to double A. Another catching prospect, Rainiel Rodriguez, and he is going to be a guy who definitely is in that top 50 talk among baseball prospects this year with the Cardinals. He is up to high A, and another guy who's 18, Yenry Rojas, right-handed pitcher in the Cubs system, really electric stuff. Doesn't always know where the strike zone is. He's up to double A. Here's a Blue Jay, Gage Stanifer. He's kind of had a pop-up year out of nowhere, and right-handed pitcher. He's up to double A. Junior Tour. This one is actually, I know that Junior is a guy from Cuba in the athletic system. He's like 6'6", 230. He looks like he would be a fun guy in a brawl in a Latin bar. I will tell you that much. You just, if you've ever been to a Latin bar in the moment when there's a brawl, Junior is like that guy. There's a guy like him at every brawl in a Latin bar. I'm just saying. That's he's up to AAA. Brady Tygart is a guy who a lot of positive feedback on his stuff in college, but he just couldn't stay healthy. Was a 24 draftee, and now he's up to high A for the Red Sox because, of course, they need more pitching prospects. We talked about him last week. Grant, don't call me Ham, I'm Burger. Is left-handed pitcher with the White Sox. He's up to high A. Thomas White is up to triple A for the Marlins, although that rotation is getting really full. I thought that
I'm getting a little nervous getting them to AAA right now.
I really thought that would mean that someone like Snelling or someone like that was coming up to the majors, and they have not done that at all. So, which is kind of fun if you go and you sit on the Marlin or on that Jacksonville team for a series right now, you're going to get to see two of maybe the four best left-handed pitching prospects in the game. That's kind of fun. But Jackson Wiggins is now up for the Cubs up to AAA. He looks a lot like what folks were hoping Cade Horton would look like too. Really dominant stuff, not always flashing all of it, but when he flashes more than two of the pitches really working, it's basically unhittable at the minor league level. So we'll see what happens when he gets beyond that. And then by far my favorite name in all of minor league baseball, Nick Zwack. Left-handed pitcher for the Giants. He's up to AAA. He was a Mets prospect that came over in the Darren Ruff to the Mets deal that netted the Giants, I think, 4 or 5 players for Darren stinking Ruff.
Gosh, I thought you were going to say the Zach Wheeler deal.
No. So that's the end of the promotions. We have had a really fun thing happen this year that doesn't happen every minor league season. Kendall George got to 100 stolen bases. And not only did he get to 100, he got to 100 by stealing 15 over like a 5 or 6 game period. He just exploded in steals and got himself up to 100. So that's really kind of fun. And then the last thing I have on our show, our pre-show show sheet, our news and notes, the West Michigan team reached a level that hasn't been reached in more than 30 years when they won their 92nd game this week. They have a chance if I want to say that they're coming up toward the end of their season. But I mean, this is a team that started out with all the big 3 prospects in the Tiger system with Max Clark, Kevin McGonigal, and Josue Briseño all on that team to start the year. But they all got promoted, and they have a better winning percentage since the promotions, which is bonkers. It's been a really fun team to watch this year. They have scored more than 10 runs 21 times this year. That is sort of bonkers for minor league baseball. Now, and it's one thing, So, I mean, you've got. It's one thing if you do that and you're in like the Southern League. You've got warmer air all year long. This is in the Midwest League, and you and I both know what it's like in the upper Midwest in April until about early June. Like, and they're still putting up big time runs. So that's impressive.
Absolutely. Their run differential's almost plus 300, 294.
Is that nuts?
So I would argue that these coaches.
Chad looked up the Zwack. The return for Ruff.
Thanks,
JD Davis, Thomas Sapuki, Zwack, and Carson Seymour. And Carson Seymour has made the major leagues now, too. So that's a heck of a return for a backup first baseman DH type.
Yeah.
A right fielder if you really want to get desperate. So.
But yeah, just on the Whitecaps, impressive. And again, you mentioned the weather, or sorry, the weather. Also lake effect, depending on exactly where they're playing here. The team's name's the Whitecap. That's from Whitecaps on a Great Lake. So, wind affected, but this has clearly just been a dominant team. And my initial point was that the coaching staff here must have done something. I can't imagine anything other than just to be able to continue to roll to this level where they have told their hitters, we're doing this thing. And I always go back to remembering Jose Bautista talking about Cito Gaston in his final year managing him. And Bautista had this huge September, and he said, he told me to look for my pitch in my spot and wait. And that's what I went for. And it turned me around as a professional hitter. And I remember thinking, like, that seems pretty obvious, but I guess not when you're struggling and you're trying to hit baseballs, period, to just have that level of patience and have your manager tell you this is it. So I got to give a ton of credit to this coaching staff. I would love to see them be able to do the Schneider thing with Toronto of bump them up a level next year. See if this is something they can. I mean, it depends on who's in the Tigers, who's next for the Tigers here. But is there a way to reward these guys by getting them to a higher level if that's a logical step for them? Because this is amazing. Good for them. And lucky Tigers, lucky Tigers.
And you said we're not doing a Jesus Take the Wheel. Do we need to catch up on any of the guys you mentioned before?
Yeah, I think I'll just touch on it. So Walker, Tyon Walker, who was my pick a couple weeks ago, he, fell flat on his face. It's been very exciting for me. But that's what will happen with some of these guys is I will try to find a guy who looks like he's got lineups or matchups, that makes sense. The last one that I picked was 2 weeks ago. Let me just pull it up here. And that was the Royals, Ryan Burgett. Let's go with that. Berget, and trying to pull him up here, who he's going tonight. He's now 47% rostered. And we had kind of discussed
up a bunch.
Yeah. Like he was doing well. Now he got blown up, or has been blown up tonight rather. 21.6, well, three and a third innings. And he is out of there. Cleveland torched him, 3 Ks. And this was not the good one, but everything prior to this, he had been excellent. So I'm going to call that one a win because his prior month, he was a 2.28 ERA in 27 and 2/3 innings, 29 Ks, a win, a quality start. So he was fine. Walker, not so much, but he was before that. And for anyone who was wondering what the Jesus Take the Wheel pick is, that's just a deep cut name for essentially a streaming pitcher who you pick them up this week. They'll be your 2-start pitcher next week, getting ahead of the curve by a week so that you're not in that horrific race for the 2-start guy next week. You've already got one who looks like the matchups lineup, and they're not heavily rostered. So we've ended the season on picking those guys because we're already into September, and horrific things happen. Like even like Luis Garcia, who started last Monday night, we mentioned him, Ben. His Sunday start got pushed. The Astros aren't playing tonight. So now it's Tuesday he's going to start, which means not only is he not a 2-start pitcher. Yeah, thank you. If he does. Not only was he not a 2-start pitcher last week when it looked like he could have been, he will definitely not be this week. So in my home league where I'm going to beat Ty, who's threatened the safety of my family on this podcast tonight, when I defeat him this week, next week, there's an off chance that Garcia might be a 2-start guy for me in the championship when I walk all over either his brother or one of the other scrubs in the league. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway,
Chad had asked a question when he first came on, and we've kind of been diligently getting through things.
Yeah.
So that now that we're kind of at the end of the top half of the intro of the show, Chad asked, he said he just had his final trade of the year in his home league.
Holy smoke, still trading, Chad. That's amazing.
Yeah, I would say. Second, he's curious about the second prospect involved with the two-way says. He traded away a Riley Green and got Travis Bananas and Shotaro Mori, if I could talk.
Yeah, the A's guy. Yep.
And I will say, you are starting to see why Travis was the number 1 overall pick. He's starting to finally get that as the season ends. Unfortunately, he was not been that guy all year. He's kind of just had an okay year. So I was going to look. And for those who don't know who Travis Bananas is, that's Travis Bazana. Because I figured I'd
better to say bananas and to spell it bananas.
Which, it is a little bit of a banana spelling. Okay. So yeah, this year he is now in AAA. Overall on the year, 252, 392, 435. Not terrible, not great.
Beautiful OVP, though.
Yeah, 9 homers, 11 steals, 63 to 84 walk to strikeout over 363 plate appearances. So he's walking almost a 20% clip and striking out at only about a 25, which that isn't terrible. You'd take that most days of the week. But I was going to pull it up here because I want to say his last 2 weeks or so. Pull this up here. He finished off last week just on fire. Well, and maybe that's all it was, but because I go back the last 2 series that he had, so that would get you back to August 26th. It's 250, 400, 591. So better all around, and 4 homers during that time. But it's pretty much what he's done all year. Hit 250, get on base a ton, and when he makes good contact, it's really good contact. It's extra base contact. So, but he did have all 4 of those home runs against the Indianapolis Indians, who have, to be fair, lost a lot of the top prospects that were on that team for a long, long time this year. That's the Pirates, AAA. And in that particular week, he went 391, 481 with a 1,000 slugging percentage. So that's a solid week of play.
And for Shotaro Mori, we'll go with that. Mori. I just went to check on Fantrax. I was curious what his rostered percentage was because I know he was kind of a flashy international guy this year because that was his thing. But typically, because of the two-way, and typically those guys only get 2 or 3 up to 5% rostered on Fantrax because as the season approaches, the dynasty leagues that start the year and really raise up the roster percentage, they all get shot down. But for some reason in the last week, his percentage rostered has spiked. His total for right now is 19%, but it's up 17.4% from last week. So I'm not sure what's going on with that number. That seems that's huge for a spike.
Interesting.
And I'm looking at Fantrax as the dynasty.
He was a signee this spring. I'd have to go back and look. When did he sign? Because that could be, depending on your league, if he wasn't signed when you drafted your first.
He's only not rostered in one of my major dynasty leagues, and that's one where we have a universal draft where you're picking 15 rounds, so you're picking major leaguers and prospects. So these types of prospects, these types of prospects typically don't get picked up, but in all of the other legit ones, he's rostered, and he's rostered by competitive teams in 2 of them. For sure.
And I was just going to pull up to see if he did anything special to really finish out the year. I mean, he just kind of did what he's been doing all year. In fact, probably his best game of the year came with a month left in the Arizona season. So it's not like he finished on a real hot streak that all of a sudden everyone's like, oh my gosh, should see all the
guy
putting on X
he's
or
a project.
Truth Social or things like that. So
definitely on a Truth Social. He's 100% a regular old J2 type prospect. He didn't do the tank thing. He's already, a year or two older than the typical guys that got drafted. So he's up a little bit on that end. But as far as like turning it on, I certainly didn't expect it. I didn't get him anywhere because I didn't think he was going to warrant the hype that he was going to, drafted too high in all my leagues, basically, for me to be able to get a guy like him. So
just going to look because he has not pitched at all this year.
Wonder if he's been throwing bullpens, patiently waiting, or if they just
that's what I'm kind of wondering. I mean, they said they plan to use him as a two-way player, but he is not.
Well, the White Sox said that with Oscar Colas, right? And that's the last guy that had this profile. Mind you, he was older and Cuban, but he still also had the international experience, like I should say, Asian specific. And Colas is a different case, of course, than a child coming up. Colas was, young man doing it. But regardless, I think, there's nothing wrong with it. I love the idea of, especially Chad, depending on your team lineup, if Green makes sense to move because you're thick, and you think that Bazzana is going to be able to just lock and load as a second baseman for a decade, if that's that type of league, of course, then
and Bazzana is, or in second base, anyone who's seen this year, he is, or second base has kind of been the wasteland position in fantasy baseball this year. It is really, really tough to find a good second baseman. There's a lot of guys that'll pass, but there's not good
streaky players.
Yeah. Yep. So, what do you think? Should we throw in a commercial and then hit our MVPs?
Add it up and let's roll.
Let's see. I was looking at this one earlier, so we'll do that.
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. With Mentos fresh and full of life. Nothing gets to you, staying fresh, staying cool. With Mentos fresh and full of life. Fresh goes better. Mentos fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full of life. Mentos, the fresh maker.
Ric Flair's son just walked through your car. That is the greatest. Like those
really
phones. No, it just looks so much like him.
Yeah.
But the bag phone, that is what got me. I remember those on the farm. Got to pull that. You drag it from one tractor to the next as you're doing work in the field for the day. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into some MVPs at different levels. How did we do this last week, Robbie? Now my brain is not wanting to work.
No problem.
We each introduced a hitter, and then we talked. Yeah.
We each pick a hitting MVP. We each pick a Cy Young type guy, or oh my goodness, what was the name that Britton popped on to give us for? Oh my goodness, the Durham Bulls pitcher from.
Oh, Nuke Lelouch.
Thank you, Nuke Lelouch. Yes. I think Nuke Lelouch rather than Cy Young. So the Lelouch, we'll call it. So we've got a Cy Young that's become the Lelouch, and then we've got the MVP, which we're open for names and suggestions if you guys have one. But anyway, we'll put an offensive player together, or we'll each bring one to the board. We'll each bring a pitcher. In certain circumstances, it is just one player, and we're just going to talk about them for a minute or two so that you know their value at the level. And then, as you ought to do, you make the choice if you're going to be aggressive, not aggressive, going after them in your own fantasy leagues. We're starting off tonight, AA. AAA will be covered second half, but we're going to begin now in the Eastern League, which is cold weather, as other people would call it, real baseball conditions from start of the year all the way through. And these are tough leagues to put up elite lines. So if you've done something special here, you got a special place in my heart, because this is tougher baseball conditions. So, Ben, you look like you're going to bring a Met to the table. I'm bringing a Phillies player. So I'm going to start her off with Aiden Miller, the 2023 first round pick, shortstop. The time of our research conclusion, he had 50 stolen bases, a 369 OBP, and a 786 OPS, along with 12 dingas. And I think that's pretty special. The Phillies are going to need him, I would say, at some point next year, depending on what they do with their offseason, how all that works out. Legitimate talent. Good to see him at this level and performing at a high degree. Who is he going up against?
Well, and Miller, Chad mentioned this is another guy, along with Zaire Hope and Josue DePaula, also is another guy who there's Twitter X rumors of him being promoted to AAA. Miller is being promoted to AAA, they say. So
if you haven't seen on True Social, it hasn't happened.
There you go. This is a true story. Jet Williams, who has played a lot of positions for the Met in the Met system this year. Second, short, center field, 281, 390, 477 line, 29 doubles, 5 triples, 10 homers, 32 steals, a 62-96 walk to strikeout. Just kind of solid in all aspects. And what I really appreciate was the fact that, like I said, he had, I don't have it in front of me, something like at least 20 games at all of second, short, and center field, which is a pretty elite skill to be able to be productive while moving around that much. You
know who that reminds me of? You know the player that gets tagged
Tony
every
Phillips?
time? No, not Tony Phillips. Ben Zobrist. He could be the next Ben Zobrist.
No, he's a hell of a lot better athlete than Ben Zobrist ever was.
I just
that's actually why I brought him up. That's why I brought up Tony Phillips, because that is a legit comparison. As Tony was a second short center field sort of guy, and has some legit like 70 plus speed as a base runner. So Williams could be actually a very similar guy to Tony Phillips, but I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion either way. I brought Williams up more because the thing I worried the most about him was his free swinging. And he has really worked on working counts and taking pitches. That really impressed me this year. So just to see him take that big step forward on that level or that part of his ball game. But yeah, like I said, either one, I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to update as quickly on Aiden Miller. 52 stolen bases now, 13 home runs. The average 259. I think that's the difference here, and that's what gets Jet the nod for the MVP award here, is just a little bit more ball in play and success getting to first. So we'll give it to Jet. We'll table
two
Aiden
very
for
fun
later,
players for sure.
Yeah, certainly not. Definitely. Yeah, certainly not a runaway here as it is on the pitching end. And Ben, I don't know if you just want to go into it. He's already starting at the MLB level. So.
Yeah, Jonah Tong just absolutely dominated Double-A, and this was. I am going to be taking an L on this one for a while because I really thought Double-A was going to be a proving ground for him, because last year in A-ball he was dominant, but he was dominant basically throwing one pitch and using deception and really good extension and movement on that one pitch, but one pitch. I thought, well, it's going to take him some time to adjust to working a full repertoire. Well, it really didn't, because he didn't have to. He was about a 70% fastball pitcher in Double-A. So didn't really tail off that heavy usage on the fastball. But he's still doing the same thing in the majors right now. It's like 60-something% usage of the fastball at the major league level, and he's still getting outs. So it's a good enough pitch to do it at that level. You know it was going to be that good in Double-A. And 102 innings, 162 strikeouts.
Beautiful.
That's a very solid, and that's just at this level. That isn't his whole season level. That's just what he did at the AA level. So anyway, I think Tong is pretty easily the guy.
Yeah, he wins the Nuke Lelouch Award. And of course, being a Canadian, extra cool. All right, moving on now to the Southern League, which, if you're not aware, is south of the Eastern League. So in this one, Ben, did we bring? I don't even know if I brought a hitter to the table in this one. Did I? No, I didn't.
Does not look like it.
I didn't find a guy,
which makes kind of sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't find a guy here, but I found a pitcher worth fighting for. So we'll just anoint Sal Stewart, who, as you have said, everyone needs to hit the pause button on as far as the MLB fantasy hype. Just understand, as Ben has said, understand the situation. But at AA, an award winner here, 306, 377, 473 line, 19 doubles, 10 dingas, 13 stolen bases. And I like to see, I don't know what the at-bat total was, Ben. Do you have that? I can look at that quickly.
I think it was like
27 walks.
I think it was 4 or high 3s, low 4s.
Yeah, 27 walks, 51 strikeouts. So this is a ball in play type guy. As Ben was mentioning before. I can look up Sal Stewart's.
I've got it coming.
Perfect. Okay.
There we go.
And he'll be our Southern League
329 plate appearances in AA. So that's actually not bad. That's 27 in that. That's, about a 7%, 7 to 8% walk rate. That's not terrible, horrible. It's low.
It's not elite.
Lower, definitely.
Yeah.
But overall, his minor league line is 494 plate appearances and 46 walks. So that's really good. And 77, like this year in all levels, 77 strikeouts and get over 494 plate appearances. That's freaking elite. Less than 20% strikeout rate is a very, very good number. But he's kind of the guy. The Southern League, the guys who were halfway decent got out of there in a hurry. The guys who stuck around needed development and didn't have great numbers. So it's, he was the pretty easy guy. Now, the downfall is we have to cheer for Tampa because we're picking among 2 Tampa Bay Rays prospects here as far as the pitchers go. I had Brody Hopkins kind of had launched onto prospect list this offseason and then backed it up with his performance this year. 130 strikeouts over 106 innings pitch, 2.80 ERA, and a 128 whip. So very solid season, looks the part, all those good things. But you have another very good nominee that you mentioned as well.
I do, and he's added another start to it. So I've got Ty Johnson, who came over in a trade with the Cubs last year. Was it? Yeah, last year or the offseason. 107 in the 3rd innings pitched, 142 strikeouts, a decimal 9.32 whip. He has walked 37, which is not concerning, and a 2.52 ERA. That is 19 games started, 1 game finished. That's not a complete game. So I guess he's been in relief 6 times this year. But quality.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. What happened in the Braves game? Did Acuna get a single?
No. He's actually, where is he hitting? I was going to say Acuna's been hitting in the bottom of the lineup because he is just not hitting well right now. But no, the trade, the way he got there is a trade deadline trade last year. Ty Johnson came along with Chris Morel and Hunter Biggie to the Rays for Isaac Paredes.
Yes. Okay. So, and that's why I was thinking the offseason was Paredes, but Paredes went to Houston shortly after. But yeah, an interesting Rays trade. And then everybody got excited about Biggie possibly becoming the back end of the bullpen. But we're talking about Hopkins and Johnson here. So I've got the 23 15th round pick. Do you know where Brody Hopkins was taken? Was he a higher bonus baby pick?
He was higher, but I think I was to say like a 9th rounder, but let's.
Oh, okay. So, but not a top 40 overall.
I think so, but I don't want to. I'm pulling her up. Okay, yeah, he was acquired from the Mariners. He was a 6th-round guy out of Winthrop University. So
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
liking
I
Johnson
think-
here. The lines are on each guy is good. It's promising for the Rays. Obviously neither of these guys they drafted. This fits the MO. As I said, they acquire the talent elsewhere and are able to get them up. They don't draft and develop. So, Ben, I'm good with either one. If you like, I like Johnson's size. I think he's 6'6". He's a big feller.
I think with this, I think we can do. Let's go with Johnson. I think this year performance has been very similar. Hopkins is likely going to be the guy who you're going to see higher on prospects. Right. But I don't know that he's necessarily a better pro prospect. He just has certain things he does that meet prospect writers' desires more. He has a breaking ball that looks prettier when it breaks. He has a fastball that touches certain velocity bands. Johnson is a guy who knows how to pitch, and it's really fun to watch him pitch. Not going to blow you away with the way that any of his pitches look, but he locates them all very well. Even when he misses a spot, he misses it misses it to the good. He doesn't take a pitch you want inside and throw it over the heart of the plate. You know, if he's going to miss
the
Nuke Lelouch. Yeah. No, that's only when Crash calls it down the pipe and tells the guy, here's where it's coming.
All right, so there we go. So we'll move on now to the Texas League, which, if you're not sure,
lots of hitters here.
Yeah. This one there were some options, so I went with something a little creative. I mean, I gotta say though, I think solid choices here to discuss. But Ben, you're starting us off. You've got a Twins player. Now, I'm shocked he's not up in the MLB because I thought they traded away everybody off their 40-man and they needed 40 new guys.
All pitchers. They traded away all pitchers.
Oh, okay.
They still have some hitters, and well, actually, that's one that we didn't get into. Is I think Walker Jenkins might be about the hottest player on the planet at the moment in AAA for St. Paul, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about Kyler Fedko. You not heard that name? Not surprised. Outfielder with the Twins. And this is a guy who I kind of thought was buried as not even just buried as a prospect, buried as on the Wichita roster in AA, as in he was going to be like their 4th outfielder. And then a couple of guys got hurt, including Jenkins, who was supposed to start the year in AA. And all of a sudden, Fedko got full run and has not slowed down all year. 253, 375, 494 line, 15 doubles, 20 homers, 26 steals. And he's doing all that without having a crazy strikeout rate, 58 walks, 79 strikeouts. So just a really kind of all-inclusive line from Kyler Fedko.
Yeah, and he's going up against a guy who I don't see a nickname for, so I'll just say Ivan Melendez.
Oh, I would say he has a nickname. I know that he does.
I can't. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't put in the notes. So, but he was a second round pick in
Hispanic
2022.
Titanic.
There we go. Thank you.
I was like,
I knew it was of you to say it.
Hispanic Titanic. A good one. Yeah.
So, he was drafted in 22, I think I said, in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Second round. Relatively disappointing to fantasy owners out there, as he has been a slower to develop type big bat. A lot of power was expected his final year at Texas. He had 32 home runs. He did have 30 in his first pro season, but numbers went down last year at AA. He repeated AA. Has done very well to the point of a promotion now, but his AA time is what he's here for tonight. 258 average, 348 OBP, and a slug of 480. He had 16 home runs, even stole 2 bases, but a lot of production here. 43 RBIs in only 244 at bats, going along just 6 doubles. He's clearly a power type guy. You're not going to see more than maybe 2-3 triples for this guy, and 31 runs. So the line, again, not outstanding, but somebody worthy of mentioning, as he is now up in AAA, and as a 25-year-old, he should be. And with Arizona seemingly full everywhere, but also still finding ways to promote all their guys, Melendez, I think, will have a reasonable shot next year. He did have fall league time too. I'm trying to remember when it was. I'm going to have to look that. 23.
Remember that
okay,
they
2
traded
years
away.
fall league.
They traded away
Yeah,
Josh Naylor.
Naylor. Which is why I feel like he's worthy of mentioning here.
They still have Tyler Locklear, but he's getting run right now. So if maybe they decide that what they've seen the end of the year here isn't what they want long term, then maybe it is. They say, well, let's go back to Ivan Melendez as a possibility. I am surprised looking at this here. He is listed at 6'1", 225. I think that was his high school freshman weight. And what is probably going to help him still list himself at that weight, AAA for the first half of the season had the automatic strike zone where they had everyone weigh and they had to get all their measurements and everything to be accurate. And so you saw a lot of guys like suddenly go from 5'9" to 5'6", things like that, that you're like, well, we're not lying about the height anymore, huh? But weights also got very accurate all of a sudden. But they did not do any more inputs as of halfway through the season. So now it's like a challenge system instead. So it's not the auto system, it's a challenge system. And he's safe. He doesn't have to go up and get weighed in and all that stuff. So he might still be listed at 2.25 next year to start the year. And
I do want to mention, I don't think he won't fall under Rule 5 as a 22 pick. That'll be next year. But in 80 at bats at AAA, he's now a 300 hitter, which at the moment, if he was able to finish this off, even within 20 points of this will be his highest average year as a pro. At a level, I should say. His 23, he had 272 average. Not that I'm saying he's washed out, but his 24 was a down year at AA as far as like the overall development goes. It was a step backwards. But if he's able to keep this up, I think he's kind of a forgotten prospect right now. And as we just said, there's definitely a path to playing time when Tyler Locklear is the guy in between. Now, does that make him the MVP? No, I don't think so. His average dipped from when I had first written some of this stuff down here. I should say dipped. His average doesn't look quite as good as it did when I had first done this. But the production clearly goes to Kyler Fedko here of Minnesota. So just
kind of the across the board sort of stuff.
Sometimes you put up a nominee knowing there's a thoroughbred there, and I think this was one of those situations. So now let's move to the arms.
This is going to be a little more challenging. And in this league, I will say finding a guy who had a solid year in a hitter's league like the Texas League is usually a challenge. But there were some really good nominees. And interestingly, for Robbie's preferences, almost all of them were left-handed. But the guy I brought up was Mitch Bratt, who got traded mid-year this year from Texas to Arizona. 112 innings with 135 to 19 strikeout to walk. That's a hell of a walk rate. 3.21 ERA, 117 WHIP. So I am going to pronounce my guy's name properly. I want to hear that.
I'm going to go with it being just Ian. It's IXAN. And I think it's a silent X.
It's a silent X. Oh, also just to really sway you, Mitch Bratt, Canadian. Just thought I'd throw that out there a little.
My guy's from Fresno. I got a Californian here. I got a 16 lefty Californian I'm throwing up. But anyway, this is a 23 round, eighth round pick of the Cardinals and at AA. Now, I'll admit the line Ben read off. It is a sexy one. This one is also sexy. I should have went. Yes. Pardon me. I should have went first. 127 and 2/3 innings pitched, 131 Ks. Now that's not quite the same K to 9. The walks, he's got 49, which honestly, guys, that's a good number. It just who we're comparing to here. But 24 starts, solid. 2.54 ERA, solid. 1.128 whip, solid. And he's age appropriate at the level, a year and a half younger than the average. It's where you'd want to see the guy. He's within the Cardinals, who are not going to speed anybody up. If you're not sure, remember what Matt Libator went through after the trade, years and years. Now he was a high schooler, but anyway, Henderson, I think, is going to be, I'm trying to see what his roster percentage is on old Fantrax here, so I can give that information to you guys. He is 4% rostered on Fantrax, and for dynasty leagues out there, he's starting to be scooped up. He's in 2 of the 4 big fantasy leagues that I am in right now. So he'll be an off-season target for some people. 9-6 record. Brad with the walk, it's beautiful. The only unfortunate thing that I'm saying, and this is not against Brad, this is on control guys, is that we've seen, Thomas Harrington is the example here, taking a hit at the MLB level when they can't push the batters around as they've been able to. Now, ideally, this doesn't happen to Brad, but it is possible, and that's where you need to be able to fall back, like, as a Jonah Tong type of just doing what you do well. And Spencer Strider would be another. These are elite pitchers of being able to just overwhelm the competition. Whereas if Brad needs to, is that what Brad can do?
I think Brad has got. I was just pulling this back up. I was just looking at Henderson's line. Brad has got now on the year 16 home runs allowed at 117 innings. It's not a horrible rate.
No,
but for a guy who's a dominant pitcher, that's a little bit too many. That said, remember that Amarillo, where he's been pitching recently or since the trade, that is arguably the most hitter-friendly park in all of non-AAA baseball.
Oh, wow.
More than any Cal League park, but not quite up to the PCL level. It's not quite to that bad, but it is anything below AAA. It is absolutely, you can make a very, very good argument for it. So the fact that he's allowed 3 home runs in 26 innings in that park, not the worst thing in the world. Not great, but not the worst thing in the world.
Okay, well, let's give it to Brett, and then let's just put one of those watch list things here on old Ian Hernandez, which, just to reiterate, is
Henderson.
Sorry, IXAN Henderson, and the X is silent. So anyway, let's move on. Let's promote ourselves to AAA.
That sounds like a good idea.
For AAA here, look up. I'm using the notes section on StreamYard here, as Govier has requested. I'm very excited about that for the notes for the show. So for AAA, we are down to 2 leagues, and honestly, there are so many quad A guys who just don't have enough total at bats. That, like, guys, Cooper Humel's the name I've got on here because, like, 3 years ago, I remember thinking, man, he could be really good. And now he's a late 20s guy who just, because of like getting DFA'd and moving organizations and things like that, not him alone, but players of his ilk, of like, they're really good, smart hitter OBP guys. They can't make it work at the MLB level, whatever, things just don't work out. Not that they're bad players, but at the MLB level, they are not the dominant players they are at AAA. But there are a lot of these guys who get that quad A tag, and we're leaving them alone because typically they don't end up with enough at bats in the first place. Now, I may have put a guy who could become on that list when we get to the PCL, but we're starting with the International League. So, Ben, I've got a really interesting Cubby as my dude.
I think this is a fun. This league is a lot more guys that are actual legit prospects that you had to talk about, like as far as the top guys. The PCL was a lot of guys, both pitchers and hitters, that you're like, yeah, I think that guy's probably long-term an up and down quad A type of guy. But
yeah,
this the International League, there were a good handful of also a guy that, I mean, borderline prospect, but at least a prospect-ish type of guy. But the guy I chose was a holy shit prospect that I am still surprised is not at the major league level yet. And that is Justin Crawford, outfielder with the Phillies, former first-round pick. Father is Carl Crawford. Starting to look a lot like his dad slash lines, 336, 411, 456 with 23 doubles, 7 homers, and 45 stolen bases. Kid can fly.
Impressive. Yep.
56 to 90 walk to strikeout. So that was a concern earlier this year, or coming into this year, that he got a little contact focus last year and the walk rate really dropped, but it was about a 10 to 11%. I'd have to look it up, but I think about a 10 to 11% this year, which is a more than acceptable rate. Not striking out at 20%. And so, I mean, that's a really good combination of kind of your old school ideal leadoff hitter.
Yeah, absolutely. Highly desirable.
This is your Tim Raines profile. Like, he's not to the point of Ricky Henderson, because he's not hitting 20 bombs, but like that Tim Raines profile where going to hit 5 to 10 bombs and steal you 70 bases. That's a hell of a fun profile to have.
Yeah, and he's on base, right?
Yeah.
So when you're the Phillies with some mashers in your lineup, you're happy to have those guys year in, year out. That's the table setter. That's the guy. So anyway, he's not up yet. He's an excellent prospect. The gentleman that I have picked up is on the other end of the hype train, Jonathan Long, the 23 ninth round pick of the Cubs. He has 3 positions listed: first, third, and left field. I mean, he's a first baseman. Obviously he's in AAA. I was just going to say he's in Iowa. 309, 411, 487 line. OPS is 890, 899, 898. Numbers, man. Numbers. Anyway, 19 home runs on the year, 86 RBIs. That's a lot of production. 86 runs in 476 at bats. So, as he has been going, he's got an excellent line for the year. 22 doubles, 3 triples. He's just good. Now, he doesn't steal bases. He has 0 professional stolen bases.
They gave him a shot at third in fall league last year. I was just looking it up. He's played less than 10 games in left and less than 10 games in third this year. 106 of his games have been at first base. So almost all of them.
Yeah, and the reason he's not going to be up with the Cubs is that they prefer 40-year-old first basemen.
Now come on, Michael Busch is not 40, but he had to go through 7 years of Dodger things before he was allowed to play there.
He's been excellent, but the problem is that instead of having Long come up as the backup in September, they picked up Carlos Santana.
Yeah, and then you've got Justin Turner, and so
right, and you got Justin Turner as your first
in the role that he could be in. Yeah, that is
100%.
correct. That they're picking, which actually that would work really well, you would think, because he's a righty, Bush is a lefty. You would think that would make an excellent, if you're give him a day off, give him a day off against a tough lefty. But I don't know.
To me,
silly.
Long likely, like, I think the stat line's great. The prospect outlook here for Long, to me, is potential sleeper type opening day roster, not starting a lot, and then would get sent down at some point in April next year for him. But people are going to look at this stat line and they are going to be wanting in on some of this from a 23-year-old turning 24. And I don't know. Like, he's not a long guy. His name's Long. He's 5'11". Yeah, he's 5'11". There's no rush for the Cubs to, move him on the 40-man, even if they haven't already. So I just think that this is going to be somebody who's going to be a little frustrating, but his line is excellent, noteworthy for sure. Justin Crawford, though, give him the nod for MVP of AAA. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So on the pitching end,
and then I was to say, you just put that.
I did have him in.
I
did
thought
have
it
him
was
in. I just
almost
didn't have him.
didn't have them separated. I had
Yeah.
a Cleveland starters who I had put Parker Messick, and we've seen him up in the majors now. Ended up, and I guess I haven't even looked to see if he went back down, and he's now over 100 innings, but he was just short when we originally put this together with a 3.47 ERA, 122 WHIP, and a 119 to 42 strikeout to walk. None of it blowing you away type of numbers, but unfortunately in AAA this year, not a whole lot of guys had blow you away numbers on the pitching line, and he kind of stuck out for just having a very solid all-around overall stat line.
And I would say he didn't have warts, because when we move into my pitcher here of Quinn Matthews, who everyone was very excited about, 4th round pick in 2023, I guess we would call it a big pop-up year for him. It definitely was a pop-up year for him in 2024. 143 in the 3rd innings pitched last year, 202 strikeouts, only 49 walks in that time. This year has been different. 85 innings pitched. He's got 101 strikeouts, 65 walks. The whip's 1.5. Started 20 times, but the ERA is at 3.81. And to me, he's on this list, or not to me, I put him on this list because overall he looks good. 90, like for the year, he's got other five innings pitched that he looked relatively dominant in. So his stat line skewed a bit, but overall he hasn't pitched as much, and this was a step back year for him. But
so
clearly there's something there with Matthews.
He got hurt in early in the season, and he was really struggling with location. And then in August, he really tightened it up and had an excellent month. 2.27 ERA, 13 walks in 31 and 2/3 innings. Still more than you'd like, but a lot better than he'd done all year. And 41 strikeouts, which is what we were seeing last year.
Yeah.
And then his first start of September, 5 innings, 5 runs, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. But yeah, the 4 walks in 5 innings, gave up 5 runs. You're like, oh crap. Well, here we are again.
It's that Green Day song, "Wake Me Up When September Ends" for Quinn Matthews here. But the hot August.
Dang it. Okay.
Hey, that fits. Come on. That's not a Wander Franco reference. Free Trevor Bauer.
No, but it's
so he was good, and obviously it went the other way at that last start to kind of mess up the line here for me. But we'll give it to Messick, and he, of course, he's been up with Cleveland. And Ben, I really want to watch this over the next 2 seasons with the Guardians pitchers here, because we've seen progression. We've given credit to the organization for developing starters, but what we've been seeing at the MLB level is regression. Cody Allen. I mean, I'm not going to name all. There's a 4 or 5 guys. I was kind of looking at this as an offseason talking point for us as dynasty missteps within organizations where, you're either crediting teams. We always talk about Tampa Bay. I've been harping on that for years, but beyond that, Cleveland, we just automatically give credit to. Well, we need to start to look at some of these things and see, well, what are these pitchers doing? Like Tanner Bybee's become a coin flip pitcher, which is terrifying. And
Messick so far, about the one thing the only reason he's got a 193 ERA so far in 4 starts. Great. But it's because he's only walked 3 in 23 and a 3rd innings. He has given up 28 hits. He's getting hit around pretty good. It's just that he's been smart and not allowed anybody else on the base paths.
Right.
So it hasn't hurt him yet. That's the type of thing is coming. It's not, this isn't and the other end of things, 18 strikeouts, and he's faced 96 batters. You're talking about a 20% strikeout rate right now. You want about a 25. He's significantly short on the strikeout stuff. Yeah, I completely agree. And the thing is, if you look down the way, there's a host of Guardians pitchers to keep track of. but a lot of them, like your Matt Wilkinson that we talked about, Tugboat, he's kind of finally putting it together to finish out the year. There's I think it's like Aaron Peterson. I think I might be screwing that name up, but anyway, there's some guys that are kind of AA, AAA guys.
The guy who pushed his wife down the stairs.
Jeez, you're seriously like. But so anyway, but there are a lot of that profile that, whether it's right-handed or left-handed, that's getting by with picking a spot and really executing, slider, sinker, sweeper and stuff like that, and not doing it with big time velocity. There's a lot of those guys in the upper minors right now for Cleveland, and we laud them when they come through the lower levels because those guys rack up a shit ton of strikeouts. Will Dion is a great example.
Oh yeah, that is an excellent example. Yeah,
he can't get to the majors because he's finally kind of hit. AAA is kind of exposed that he's got a 90-mile-an-hour fastball that's about straight as an arrow. And
anytime 2 years ago that he really popped. Is that when it was?
Oh yeah, and it was like high A and double A. But then once he got up to AAA, he got his butt handed to him. But yeah, I think he was among the minor league strikeout leaders a couple years back.
9th round pick in 21, and Dion, where's the big K year? In 22, he had 157 Ks and 128 innings. And only 34 walks. And yes, that was A ball, high A, low A, high A. And then the next
started out that way in high A again, was doing the same thing. Then he got to double A, and all of a sudden that slowed way down on the strikeouts. Yeah. And then you saw it this year or last year. That fastball doesn't play in AAA, and that's just exactly it.
He's a strikeout an inning, which still sounds good. Like there's, he's not I need a ground ball out guy. But to your point, when you see domination on the mound of your overwhelming the hitters, and all of a sudden it goes away, and the second tick up for this is you're walking more guys, and he had 35 walks in 2023 and 116 innings in the exact same number of innings the next year, but up at AAA, 54 walks. And then this year he hasn't pitched as much.
They changed his role. He's been a swing man more.
Right. So you can see now
he's made 29 same amount of appearances so far, but only 11 starts now. So
the dream has died. But anyway, we'll talk about Cleveland pitching. But right now we're going to give an award to Parker Vezek because he's been good. So
we got one more left, and we can maybe get this done in under an hour and a half. But
I believe in this. Well, because these are fun hitters. So let's get right to it. I've got Forgotten Man, Luis Campusano with the San Diego Padres, and Campusano was a second round pick in 16, 17, something like that, long time ago. And he got
top
on
100 prospect at one point.
Got on those lists and then went off the list and then came up and he was young and all these things. Anyway, San Diego has not been able to offer him consistent time behind the dish for variations of reasons. Obviously, there's production issues, but this year at AAA, he has got it together. And in a full season of AAA, 360 at bats, he's got a 336 average, 439 OBP, a 606 slugs. This is a 1044 OPS guy, 24 home runs, stolen a couple bases, 24 extra base hits on top of those home runs. Just been great. Tons of production too. 75 runs, 87 RBIs. He's solid with the walk to strikeout, 64 walks, 76 strikeouts in those 360. He has been excellent. And he got promoted at some point this year, went 0 for 21 with 6 walks.
As a DH.
And they sent his ass. Sent his ass right back down. And I fear that that's going to be the end of Campusano with San Diego. He's 26 years old now.
The thing that worries me looking at this year, he has more games combined, though, but has more games at first base and DH than at catcher now. And that bat really needs to be behind the plate to have value, because it's not a first base bat. It's not that level of a bat. Although his numbers this year would be worthy of that. But really,
again,
overall,
you get promoted, Ben, and you go 0 for 2 dozen.
Yeah.
You can't do that when you're trying to become, or the organization is trying to make you into an offensive first player. And I don't know where he's going to be as far as like how much they would have to pay him, if they will just let him go, if he's going to make, I don't know, $3 million and they say, no, thank you. We don't need that from our AAA guy. And then he gets freedom out there in the world. But I feel like he needs to leave the Padres organization to have a shot wherever it may be.
Holy crap. He is ARB eligible this year.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he's even up to that level already. Yeah, he's already up to ARB eligibility. I didn't realize he had enough service time.
I think he's over 500 MLB at bats. Where is he on? 592 in 6 seasons.
Yeah. Yep. Usually, but I mean, like that's based on the time you're sitting on the active roster. And I didn't realize,
he sat as a
partial seasons. Yeah, that's the thing, is that 23 season, he sat a lot of that as a backup, and that. Yep. So yeah,
that moved him along.
2.144 years of service time coming into this year. So that means that he would be eligible this year, which is, holy cow. But I mean, legit, he made his debut in 2020. This is his 6th year in the major leagues. That is nuts. I did not realize at all that he had.
Well, remember he was back when they were picking multiple Rule 5 guys to shove in their bullpen.
Yeah.
This was back in the like San Diego is a joke. Trying to figure out, like, Preller's trying to, is it Preller? No, who's their GM? Is it Preller?
Yeah. AJ Preller.
Yeah. Preller's trying to figure out a new way to win, whatever. And then they started making the big deals, and Tatis popped and all those things, and not just steroids in his body, but popped first as a player while probably juicing, never forget. And yeah, Campusano was one of those guys on the rise within that organization, which is why it's hard to believe in San Diego prospects some of the time, because the same people are in the organization who brought guys up like him and then did the yo-yo. But, Jackson Merrill and Tatis and other guys, Tatis years.
I had forgotten
Tatis along
23 season. God, he was so stinking good, that 23 season. And he was 3+ hit over 300 that season for them. And
so there's something with them, but this AAA line this year, the, potential MVP award that we're looking here, I think he's just been so damn good. But like you said, Ben, it's not as a catcher anymore. He's a first base DH, so he needs to be offensive. And at the AAA level, he has been excellent. Now, who are you going to try to knock Campusano off the mound, take away the award from? What scrub have you pulled off the scrap heap?
Since Michael Busch is now leading off for the Cubs, the Dodgers can never go without ruin somebody else's potential major league life.
Absolutely.
And Ryan Ward almost immediately moved into that role and has just been a freaking stud in AAA for like 3 straight years. And I mean, done nothing wrong. Been big time hitter. And he does. The thing here is, the question that they always had with Busch is, well, he's a first base only guy. We can't legit put him anywhere else because the defense is just that rough anywhere else. Ward is a legit, like, he's played center field within the just last year he played a game in center field. I was going to say, he was a center fielder up until he got to AAA. And so this is a legit, like, first base and corner outfield guy that could have some value. And this is now the third season. This is the 3rd season in a row that he will, or second. Okay, he was drafted in 2019. Since 21, here are his home run totals: 27 in high A in 21, 28 in double A in 22. Got up to AAA in his first season there, hit 21 in 23. Rough stat line. Then last year comes back, solid stat line, lots of strikeouts, but 34 dingy dogs, 104 ribbies. This year, 31 doubles, 32 home runs, 115 RBI, 15 steals even, 292, 383, 552. Oh, but he was striking out all the time his first 2 years in AAA. 78 to 114 walk to strikeout over 608 plate appearances. He's only struck out 114 times in 608 plate appearances this year. Absolutely a much better strikeout rate. He's scored 170 runs. You know how rare it is for a minor leaguer to score 100 runs? And not only is that,
Very rare.
it's
Because they get promoted, Ben. They get promoted.
Usually they do. And unfortunately, the thing is now we're talking about a guy who is 27 in AAA. He is going to be 28 before the season starts next year. I unfortunately, I don't see a path on this Dodgers team, but it's nothing he's done wrong.
Yeah.
The stat line is excellent.
I honestly think in any other organization, they would have found a way to get him up for at least a weekend series away somewhere. Like, give him an opportunity, give him the Sunday start after he get, something. And he's not getting it. And we've seen what the Dodgers have been willing to do earlier this year. The Dodgers were throwing crap veterans around, and that's not the time that Ryan Ward would have earned that promotion. But what it means is that as he's gone on and done well this year, there's a time that they brought James Outman up and let James Outman go as in play. And then they kept putting him out, even though he struggled mightily in the second half of his rookie season. And then they, started to yo-yo him up and down. Ward has not even been in that position to perform or fail. So I'm assuming he'll be able to become a minor league free agent after this year. I can't imagine he wouldn't do anything but look for a major league type deal without any of that experience, which we've seen guys get before. It doesn't mean anything because they're getting paid league minimum. They'll just get cut, but it keeps them from going to NPB or anywhere else because they have this opportunity. But I've also seen Roberto Campos, I think, is another example of a guy who was big with the Rockies and then took a $2 million deal to go and get to play, get to, be in a big park or whatever. Yep. And he didn't come back. He also didn't succeed over there, but maybe that's what Ward's going to do, which would be horrible if one of the other 29 teams, I should say, don't think, you know what, we would love to have him in camp and spring training and competing for a job. I mean, with whomever.
As bad as Nathaniel Lowe was this year, you don't think Ryan Ward could have at least been halfway decent for Washington at first base?
Right.
Yes, he's a right-handed defender at first base, but you don't think that he could have, that he would have at least given them a shot to see what he is. And that's just it. That team like that, would absolutely be worthy of starting. The Twins right now, the Twins have freaking Ty France and
they made a trade with the Dodgers.
Yeah,
maybe
they didn't get Ryan Ward back.
Yeah, maybe there was some level of discussion, and I don't know.
But instead, they did get James Outman.
They took James Outman.
Now, part of that was, I believe, that they're still worried that Byron Buxton's going to get hurt and they're going to need somebody to play center, which is a legit thing. But still, man, it is bonkers to me. Look at the numbers that he's put up the last few years. He will be a minor league free agent this year. I have to imagine he is going to look elsewhere. I understand he's come back. I was going to look. He did come back already once on a minor league free agent deal back to the Dodgers. That doesn't mean that he's going to again. He might have seen spots potentially open up and thought, oh, well, then maybe I can be the guy that fills that corner outfield first base role. And then I don't even remember who the hell the Dodgers have had this year in their at their major league level that's filled that, because they really haven't had. Gosh, I'm just trying to pull this up here. Oh God, they've played Michael Conforto. 124
there we
games.
go.
Like,
That's
oh my gosh. Like, why is Ryan Ward not playing as a left-handed hitter when Michael Conforto is being put out there in left field?
Okay, so let's finish this off. We're overdue. We're passionate guys about our players because there's more than just excellent stat lines here. I will give this one to Ryan Ward, but I will say both of these guys need new organizations next year and legitimate shots from spring training on to get MLB at bats and not just like show us what you got or get out of here. Some legitimate time, let's see 50, 60 at bats. We saw Abraham Toro get some run in Boston this year, eventually got exposed, but we would like to see some 100+ series for both of these guys next year. And now let's talk about this one's a little harder about
Pacific Coast League pitching.
About the Nuke LaLoosh Award. So I'll go quick with my guy. I got Jack Cushing. He is a 28-year-old pitcher within the A's organization. He was a 22nd round pick in 2019. He is a right-handed pitcher. I'm already bored just talking about that line, but wait, it gets worse. His ERA is 6.56. Rob, I thought you said this was MVP talk. Just wait, I'll get there, guys. He has on this season, where am I looking here? 25. He has 11 wins and only 1 loss. And that's how we get to this conversation, because you got to throw some of these other stats out. He's got 76 Ks in 72 and 2/3 inning pitched. The walks are okay, 25 walks. And then the whip, we can't talk about it, but I will, 1.583. So it's not pretty. No one likes this. 34 appearances. He's only started 6 games. So this is one of those guys who long relief type guys who's come in or hopped on the back of the opener type thing. And it's just interesting that he's somehow collected the wins this year. But I mean, Ben, talk about your guy, and then people might understand. It's hard to find a legit guy in the PCL, because this is why the Angels promote from AA. Yeah. Because they just get eaten alive.
Here's the deal. Caden Dana spent all year at this level and now is actually producing it at the major league level. And in fact, I believe he's starting tonight against the Twins. But he just got eaten alive at this level. I mean, like a 7 ERA eaten alive. Miguel Ulola, the reason, I will tell you, the main reason he stuck out, ERA of 3.68. I was looking for anyone who had 75 innings and under a 4 ERA, and he was pretty much it. He was the guy. But 3.68 ERA. Okay, well, that's not bad. A 1.40 whip. Hey, 115 strikeouts. Okay, well, that's better than a strikeout an inning, but 69 walks as well.
Right.
And that's just when we were doing this. So it's not pretty. It's not. But the one thing that I have been surprised by this year, I am surprised that Miguel Olo has lasted the whole year, that he has not gotten called up for Houston.
Yeah, it's weird. And he won't now, because now they got a 6-man rotation going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless Fromber throws some more balls at his catchers, but that's a whole nother.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. But okay, so we'll wrap this up by giving it to Miguel Ulola, which is Ullola. And this is, I like this guy a couple years ago. I went through the Houston system and looked for this type of pitcher, which is the good control, decent K, competing pitcher, because they're able to develop these guys from A up. They have had success in that rotation with it. There have been injuries with all of their guys, from McCullers on through, but they've been able to give MLB performance level, or whatever, average or better pitching from guys like this. And it seems like he might also be in the same kind of thing as Ward and Campusano, where maybe he's just not getting the look. But for him, hopefully it's just not getting the look yet. For Cushing with the A's, he's been lucky. He's got his 11 wins. but we'll let that go. So,
Yeah.
okay, so we've got a little
final thing before
Yeah.
we close out for the day. Long time prospect, Victor Mesa Jr.
Oh my goodness, the original?
Got
Or are you talking about
his-
Victor?
No, Victor Mesa Jr. That's a whole nother deal. Victor is his older brother.
Yeah.
Victor Mesa Jr. collected his first major league home run tonight, and so
Nice.
far they're still trying to tack on more runs right now in the bottom of the ninth inning. It is a 15-7 game right now.
Oh wow.
Like, there we go. Finally got the third out for the Nationals get to claim the 15-7 win. But yeah, Jansen Junk was junk tonight. Like that was not a good. But Cade Cavalli got the win. 5 innings, only 1 strikeout, 2 earned runs. So, good to have him come up and do well. But yeah, Victor Mesa Jr. had a double and a home run in the game.
Yeah, solid. And he's getting some play here. So let's see, 21 at bats so far. So, okay, well, I think are we to be determined if we're coming back next week, or are we going to wait until we know the AFL rosters and we'll come back?
That's kind of where we're at.
Before we take a big old break.
And there might be some stuff for me work-wise that might make tomorrow or next week not so great. So we'll have to see. But I think we should be able to. We're going to be back as soon as we can with the AFL rosters. Let's just hope that they release them soon. Opening day for the AFL is the 6th of August. So October. Yeah, and they've released all of the schedules now. Finally, that's all out there. You can look at all the schedules on the Arizona Fall League right now. Just waiting to find out who's going.
Yeah, so what we kind of do here with the channel itself is we slowly transition into NFL, which is super boring because we're not covering CFL. But Ben and I will pop on with some AFL pre-discussion, some post-discussion a month or so later, and then we'll cover the Rule 5 draft, which will be in December. So you'll hear us again then. And then we'll pop back in January and start talking about prospects on each organization as the offseason has done its thing. So we're not hiatusing. We just hibernate temporarily and recharge our whatever we're running off of. Mine's mostly alcohol, but we recharge our batteries and come back when there's news for us, essentially. So we've had an excellent season and we're not yet done, but before you hear from us again, we're going to need those AFL rosters to come out. So we've got something to talk to you guys about.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, I gosh damn it, the dang thing. Pardon my French. I was trying to get one more for the rest for the road.
Fuck to it.
There we go. There we go. Now may we all make a mess of our lives the way that she has. All right, and everyone, the next time we see you, we'll be talking some Arizona Fall League. All right. For Robbie, for Ben.